what's going on? Okay, it's fine. It just means I won't be able to comment on. I think there is comms. It's just really, really faint. Or sound. Yeah. There we go. If I put it all the way to 100, max out all the volumes, I can kind of hear it. So this is a very good pick. Eichenwald is one of Pharah's. Eichenwald first, at least, is one of Pharah's strongest maps. Oh man, that's just toxic. Why? Why are they so toxic?
Give me the one tank, please.
One tank?
No. One healer is better than one.
No, we can't one here.
No, one healer. Anna can't solo heal.
On a
Can't.
can solo heal, it's just hard.
You're the best, KFC. I love KFC, you know?
Bubble me, bubble. No.
Okay, so while this route is okay, if it's available to you, always try to go around that side of the tower first. Because if they give that to you for free, then you could shoot from an angle to where their shield can't block you. Because right here, if they had the shield up, it's going to block most of your damage coming in. If you shoot from this way and the shield's facing towards choke, you can actually get the damage in behind them. And then once you come around, you kind of rotate around the tower. You know, the tower that's over there, not this tower that's right here. Uh, and it gives you cover from a couple different angles. So if they give it to you for free, try that way first. If they don't, then coming back this way is fine. Though I will say going this way without a mercy pocket's a little bit more dangerous. Good job peeling back. Nice. Your Ryan went in too early. Your team wasn't ready.
Get ready for the next one.
It's
Debuff!
okay.
We give debuff! I repeat that. Rodak slip! I repeat.
Oh, fuck.
Ah,
Wait,
you want
wait,
mercy?
I'm coming.
You coming?
Behind. Vigit behind. Vigit behind. Alone.
Where?
Oh, your Zarya should have been fragged there. She fucked up. She's all the way up front with a Roadhog coming behind her. Oh yeah, she should be done.
Rodak,
Why is your Ryan fighting a Brig?
don't sleep, je me suis foiré.
Nice.
I tried to heal you, my friend. My doggy.
Oglow, oglow.
Nice. It's good. Movement.
Oh! Kill this bitch.
Just seeing a Torbjorn. Is it Torbjorn shouting that? Oh no, it's Reinhardt. Reinhardt yelling in German's funny. So something that actually works pretty well when you start forcing them back like that, especially if you're shooting like so you have the archer this way, right, and then the road. If you're forcing them back with shots that are over here, they'll naturally back up this way, right? Which means you could put a boop right there and send them off the map. It works pretty well against like Annas and soldiers and McCrees. They're trying to still land the shot on you because they're not aware of where they're standing. So when you see something that's up there, like as Pharah, it's kind of hard to deal with that sometimes. But what you can do, especially if it's something that can't get back up there easily, so it's like say what's up there right now is a Roadhog, right? He's on the tower up there. You can rocket boost jump up, try to you might get hooked, but it could be a big play too, and boop him down to your team. Because you taking a 1v1 against him's a bad idea, but if you can boop him into your team, oh well, he just dropped into your team willingly.
Go! Go! Engage!
Eh,
What the fuck?
who called that?
Debuff! Go! Go! Go!
Okay, you're on as an idiot.
What the fuck?
Your Ana screaming that made your Ryan drop his shield to attack, which got your entire tank line dead-eyed.
Level.
Oh, it's on my face. My face.
He's not coming for you, he's going for Ana.
I know.
If you have an Ana, always think that Doomfist is either using his ult to get out, or he's going for your Ana. Oh, big boop, big boop! Ah. Yeah, so you want to land that one. As he's walking up, you want to try to land it like right there. So it's a little bit behind him, so if he does back up at the last second, it'll still send him sideways. Wow, that just sounds angry.
Debuff, Macri debuff, Ana debuff. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
And Brig doesn't really do anything to you.
Rodok glow.
Another boop opportunity right there. Sending him that way. Even if you just, like, obviously environmental kills are great, but Roadhog has to be really close to what he's doing to deal, like, a lot of damage. So even if you just booped him that way to slow him down, you'd still save your team from some damage.
Brigade behind and debuff. Brigade behind and debuff.
So far, your positioning's actually been pretty solid, though. Not seen like a ton of mistakes or anything on that.
The fuck?
That's gong.
Yeah, don't go in now, especially when they have
Take a
McCree
fucking freak.
and an Ana. So something that it's kind of sucks about Pharah is the second point of Icon might be the worst point for her to take from an enemy, right? So Pharah is really, really good once she's like stabilized in an area. But because all the high ground, the massive high ground, not just like normal high ground, this is some of the biggest high ground in the game in terms of like or height. It really makes it hard for her to take that space because she has to use all her cooldowns to get to that space. She has nothing to dodge now. So this is a good swap because this guy, and her can deny you the space that you want to take as Farah. And really, once they're set back up over here on bridge, the only thing you can really do as Farah is to go all the way around this side and just kind of spam into them until your team makes space. But you don't have a team that's able to make space for you, so it's a good swap.
Rodok sleep.
Oh, that
Cassette. Ah
sucks.
bah non. Rodok skip.
See, is what I mean. Like, that McCree could deny you all the area that you want to take as Farah. So, against a team... Oh, man. They're doing really good with the environmental. Against that comp, you guys want to take the castle. You want to go inside the castle, up the stairs, clear that high ground that's up there, catch anybody that's up there, and then drop down 2 point. That way it sets your Widow up on high ground, it sets your Hanzo up on another high ground, and like the whole point of running double snipers is if the enemy is right here in this box, you're at two different angles shooting in, so they can't shield both of you. And that's what you do at double sniper.
The high ground. You should take it.
Let's go, Jonak.
And you basically wait until your team gets like an early frag.
C'est les Jonak. I can.
Spamming shields, good. A lot of Hanzos forget about doing that. That is not your job as Zenyatta. Get back down there. You're about to get fragged by this McCree.
Oh, trust me.
Oh, you actually saved him by taking that flashbang. That flashbang should have hit Zen. So this is good patience. You need to work on your aim though with Hanzo. There's a lot of opportunities missed there. I don't think it would have swayed the team fight because I think you had already lost like a lot of players, but being able to kill that Ana and sending her back to spawn while your team's regrouping means that you would have been able to take at least half a fight without them having main heals. But this is good. It was good patience. Good job backing up when you recognized you couldn't do much more. Nice. Good shot. Cool. You knew to follow that up with a melee. She just managed to grab the pack in time.
Okay, Mackie sleep. Mackie sleep.
So when you do manage to cut off the Reinhardt like this by himself, one, you only should do that if you have your Ryan available to follow up on that. And two, you got to communicate to your team that they need to aggress because they're only going to get about 2 to 3 seconds to actually frag him where he can't go anywhere. Otherwise, it doesn't really do anything. You just put some damage into a shield, basically. Nice. Good shot.
Okay, let's go, let's go. Okay, stay on field. Go, go, Jiva, go.
Nice. You do get a pretty good amount of headshots here, so maybe it was just that one angle was messing you up. Good job checking the window.
You're alone. No. Take Reaper now. Yeah,
Good
I
poke.
think Reaper is fine. Listen, please.
Communicate to your Zen when she's in here like this, because you could just regular shot her if she's discorded and it one-shots her. So like the biggest difference for me between Diamond and Masters, the two biggest things is positioning, which yours is not bad at all. Your positioning's pretty good. And comms, which I don't think you have really any because you're muted the whole time. Those two things really separate Diamond and Masters. I've seen Diamond players that have had mechanical skill that is the same as like the GM top 500 players that I play against. But
Bring it, sleep.
they don't know where to stand.
Just an recall.
Nice. Your Zen wants to be a DPS. Oh, he picked Torb first, didn't he? Yeah, okay.
Sorry, I'm dead. One.
The brig just forgot that you guys had a Hanzo, I guess. So, I see what you're doing now to split them. Something you can actually do when you see it coming in is as the dive comes in, put a dragon where the dive is going to land. So like you knew he was going to land on the cart, right? If you put a dragon right down that, when he lands, he's already going to take damage. And then he has to make a hard decision. Does he push into your team where he's not going to get any help now and you can all focus him, or is he going to fall back and play it safe? And either one of those is fine because you force him to a hard decision. You can punish that. So if he falls back, now your team can regroup because you guys are kind of scattered all over the place. Um, two, it wasted nano, and they're going to take a while because Winston Leap has to come back off cooldown, right? If he pushes in, then your whole team can solo focus him because nobody's going to come through the dragon that's cutting them off.
Bring it debuff. Bring it debuff. Okay, good job.
Nice shot. So this is another thing that involves comms. If your diva is going to go up there and try to eat it, you can stand in front and still land that shot because she's going to defense matrix the high noon, but that requires trust and comms with your team, which I know there's not a lot of that in Diamond.
Tracer no recall on point.
Alright, so
Let's go, Tracer, let's go, let's go, let's go.
this is, oh, I guess, no, yeah, okay. His positioning's not bad as Hanzo here. You can push up a little bit more because they don't really have any range damage since McCree's in spawn. And if they do start pressuring, you can always lunge away. There's also a health pack in there. So if you're able to take this high ground, it's even stronger. Or the high ground up here is pretty strong as long as your supports have LOS. But if you're able to get over to this area here, it's very powerful. Your Zenyatta made a mechanical error, and he had to use his own trance to bail him out.
Rodog debuff, Rodog debuff. Oh, okay. Dead.
Man, he built that fast. Oh, it's because you guys don't have a shield. Duh.
We get sleep. We get
Nice.
debuff. We get dead.
Winnable, winnable.
No, 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 no. No, no, it's not doable.
Alright, so what the two main things that happened and what made this stall out, right? One, your Zen fucked up his positioning and jumped back into a pulse bomb. So he had to use trance to bail himself out. So you don't have trance for any of this, which would have saved you here. And two, you don't have a main tank. Since you guys are running Road Diva right now, you guys can take space really well. You can't hold space though, which Hanzo needs somebody that can kind of hold space a little bit. What I mean by that is like Winston can secure this area for you up here with the jump, drop a bubble right here. You can run behind the bubble, climb up, and now you're up on this high ground, able to shoot straight down on them, and they have to use movement abilities to come get you. And if they try to do that, you just lunge away, right? Um, neither of the two off tanks that you have right now can do that. Two, it shields damage. So you saw how fast they built Deadeye and how fast they built Nano. And it's because your Roadhog and your Diva are just kind of standing there, just eating damage non-stop. Even if they're managed to get healed up or whatever, it still charges the enemy's ult really, really quickly. That Ana got most of her ult from damage. She didn't even get most of it from healing.
Good round.
It's good, it's good.
It's just a cop thing. I mean, it's hard to get people to actually play like shit that makes sense in ladder. It's actually this setup right here, pretty good for Eichenwald. That's not. Are they staying? Oh, this is still not good. Okay, so the biggest weakness to Orisa, right, is that when she has her little shield down, she's like shoot, 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 shoot. You can just walk through it and like blow straight through her, right? So she's gonna be by herself, like Orisa, and then maybe an Ana, right? Your Hanzo's probably gonna be up on top of this like bridge. You're gonna be off on the side shooting in with your Mercy pocket, and your Tracer's gonna be doing whatever the fuck she wants in their backline, right? And that's what this is probably gonna end up being. Maybe the Hanzo falls back behind the Orisa shield, but still, like Ana, really slow, hard to get away. Orisa, really slow, hard to get away from stuff. So I'm expecting if the enemy team. Oh, okay, never mind. All right, you guys swap. Good. All right, that gives more stability. Part of the reason why you run Roadhog with Orisa is because it's hard to walk straight at Hog. If Hog and Orisa are there and you walk straight at them, one, you get hooked and killed. Two, you get halted back, so you get more spam from Hog and Orisa. And it generally makes it a little bit more stable. I like my numbers today. I keep saying 1 and 2 a lot. But then obviously there's the halt hook combo. But that's the reason why you run Hog a lot with Orisa is because both of them are pretty immobile. They don't move a lot. And Hog dissuades people from attacking into Orisa shield.
Put your shield, nice.
The fuck's your mercy? Alright, well, you actually probably would already be at like 30 to 40 per. You'd be another 10 to 15% more if your mercy had stayed with you.
I've got.
Yep, he fed. So this is exactly what I meant. So you saw you had the Orisa barrier there and he tried to dive through it onto your Ana. Well, that Roadhog there means that that's a suicide move. You're never going to like succeed with that.
Another one.
Tracer on right side. Good point.
Now recall.
No, 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 Grande, no!
Sorry.
So like that ended up being okay, but you guys had already won the fight at that point. You didn't really need to use Barrage.
Okay.
You can
Look how Brig
Oh shit.
in the English sounding one has this cute Allah team, and this one she just sounds like really angry, even though it's the same phrase.
Please.
All right, so you saw him use bubble over there, right? This would not be a bad barrage at all. Just barrage the Winston. Let's see if you do it. Because you'll probably force Primal out, which means he won't get any. Yes, nice.
Come fast, come fast.
I can pick you up.
Let's go, let's go, let's go! Is you? Okay, let's go.
It's Tracer. She's in recall.
No.
Okay, come.
See, yeah, she's getting bum rushed now. When you're playing as Orisa for whatever reason, if you end up doing that, and you see Reinhardt, the moment he starts walking towards you, because there's no damage drop off on Orisa's bullets, just start walking back. Because otherwise this is going to happen. Or they're just on top of you. And she should die. I don't know if she's gonna. Yeah, she did.
No!
That sucks. So when you're playing with a Pharmacy, you always got to think your Mercy is going to be lagging behind you a little bit. So if you're dodging something like a Diva Ball, make sure you do your movements a little bit faster than what you normally would to just save yourself.
It's winnable.
It's not winnable. Do not go in there.
Well, try to contest.
So Pharah is actually really good. Like on attack, she's not that good. She's really good on this first fight on this point where it's going through like this area here with the door over there. Because she could actually fly, you know, you have the gate there and then gate right there. She can actually fly over that and shoot them behind and then fly back and then shoot them as they come in and then fly back and shoot them as they back up. And she could pressure spawn. So she's actually pretty good at the first fight
Shit,
on
is that
second
good?
here.
No!
Yeah, you good. I'm glad you didn't suicide like your teammates
Try
did.
change,
Please.
try change for break.
Something coming up outside one.
Ha!
Okay, good job.
That's always a
Try to
feels
spawn
good.
the gates.
Genji and Hydra is low. Like,
Ult off, guys.
Orisa is terrible at this point.
After, can
You
you
should have
change for
swapped.
Winston and Diva?
Yes, that is the correct call.
I think it's better take high ground.
Oh, just yes, Antinator, good.
I'm here.
And Rez, good plays. Unfortunately, exactly what I said. Orisa sucks at this point. She's really bad at this part. Oh, so for you, because your Winston didn't do it, but when you get stuck, stand still. If you can, just stop moving. You're less likely to kill your teammates. Or if your Winston jumps straight up in the air. Like, if you have a movement ability, just use it to get away from your teammates. But never just, like, lazily WASD around. So you gotta be... This one I'd put more on your healers, I think. They gotta prioritize either you or your, Widow, because you two are the dive targets. Or you or Ana, I mean. Widow can just grapple away. So... They gotta pick which one's more important to the team to... Wow, nice. It's basically
Nice.
save.
No, guys.
don't take it touch.
Just take Reaper instead of Tracer.
So like your Mercy's been solid more or less through this whole thing, but when you have like you over here, Widow back here, Ana back here, your Ana doesn't have LOS to you there or there, so she's only healing tanks. But your tanks have kind of been playing like dog shit for the most part. So your Mercy has to make a hard decision of which in these three is she gonna pick. And when they have dive, playing this far up is really dangerous. It can be a big play. Like you can make some really good shots and instantly win the fight because they're not going to expect you over there. But when they do find you, they're all going to jump on you, and really it only takes like Genji and Hanzo, or really just Genji. Genji's really good against Hanzo when Genji and Winston. Genji's really good if he can close the distance. So instead of playing up there when they have the dive and the carts on bridge, you're like, yeah, that high ground's great, but there's a couple like wooden planks up there. Try to take like this wooden plank or like over here by the drop off, and you can shoot into them. And if they dive, if you're up on the plank, you just drop and then you dive back into the mega, like use your lunge back into the mega. And if they chase you, just keep rotating all the way around this way. Don't even shoot at them, just run away. And if they follow you all the way in there, that's great because then your whole team can just turn around and now you got them in a choke. If you're playing here and they dive you, some things that you can do. One is you can jump off the map, lunge over to the bridge, and climb back up on the bridge. Now you're contesting cart, and you should be point blank against some healers. You might win that. Or you can rotate back around the wall, or climb up over the wall and basically do the same thing. Lunge in, grab the mega, and rotate around to the other choke. Or rotate up to the, if they don't follow you the whole way, then you can rotate up to the window that's in this right there.
Okay.
So that's Hanzo positioning changes a little bit depending on whether or not they have dive. By a little bit, I mean it changes a lot because you're a dive target.
Please go.
They kind of have to kill you, otherwise you're gonna find too much value
Come
eventually.
back, come back, come back.
So you want your positioning then to be where you can get support from your team, because you can't take a 1v4 against dive. It's you're not gonna work. Fortunately, this last point's usually pretty bad for dive, so you guys should stabilize. Well, maybe not.
Jimmy Discord. Winston Discord. Winston Discord and debuff. Winston
Pretty good
Discord and
dragon.
debuff.
Terrible minefield. Why the fuck did he put minefield on the capture point when he could put it around the corner here and prevent them from coming up and helping their team? That is an awful minefield. And because your McCree lost the duel that he should win, Tracer just fucked your whole team. Really, the only mistake that you made through second and third was taking that really aggressive positioning. And even then, it's not a huge mistake if your team is able to follow up on them using their dive to get to you. So like the way that you do that, if you want to take that like flank, uh, here, we'll do this again. If you want to take that flank where you're up here as an organized team, you go by yourself, you start shooting, and when they commit resources to come get you, you back off and you basically try to run away. You don't try to take any of the duels, you don't really try to fight, and as they chase you, your team pushes on the point. So right there, it was just the Genji, but optimally, you obviously hopefully take more than just the Genji. Uh, but you basically just run away. You run away and let your team fight a 5v5 on point because you managed to take the Genji away. And if the Genji decides to leave you alone to go help his team, then you take that position back and you just keep shooting and pressure. And you guys lost already. I mean, when your McCree lost the duel to the Tracer, it was pretty much over. Well, maybe not. All right, good stabilize.
Diva Discord.
Nice. You guys should have lost that. That should already be done.
Good.
You had no ultimates.
Okay, switch to
Okay.
You had basically
You're
nothing.
alone. Back, 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 back. Grande.
I don't know if you plan on playing a lot of Lucio, but his heal aura's decent in the mid fight. If you're just poking like that, be on speed. Because you could have saved your Ana if you're on speed.
Try to help you.
And again, your Zen wasn't paying attention to where he was standing, so use Trance to survive Diva Bomb, which means this blade now is free. Alright, so kind of unfortunate because you really didn't make a ton of mistakes. Your team made a lot, especially your Zenyatta, made a lot of mistakes. Like very, very simple mistakes. Um, So one, accuracy, right? And the best way I think to train this is FFA. So find free-for-all lobbies, go in there and practice Pharah, practice Hanzo or whatever. And you've already got a good like aiming at heads and everything. You just need more consistent like landing body shots and everything. So go to FFA, just play that as your warm up before you play comp. Do like 2 or 3 rounds of it, and you'll see your aim start to like your hits start to land a little bit more. Holy crap, why is that so big? Start to land a little bit more, and the reason for that is in FFA you're mostly going to be hitting squishies, which are small and like fast and they move and everything really quick. And you got to be able to switch your aim from target to target to whatever's hurting you a lot faster than what you do in like comp and everything. Um, Two, comms. I understand, especially in EU, I've heard this a lot, that it's really hard to communicate with teams because they are all toxic. But there's some basic things that you could call that I saw that would help you win more games. So like that cut off dragon that you did with the Reinhardt, if you had called to attack the Rhine, you guys probably would have won that fight a little bit easier. Um, Calling to get back instead of suiciding in because you guys had trouble stabilizing on second because your Orisa walked straight into point against 6 people. So comms important. I understand that maybe you don't want to because everybody's an asshole. And I like to finish with 3 points, and I would say the third is probably movement abilities. So you're really good at Storm Arrow in terms of like knowing when to use it and how to use it and everything, but you can use lunge and wall climb a little bit more with Hanzo to get into positions faster. So get into the high ground spot. That's gonna be really good. The best buff that Hanzo got out of that rework was lunge. Um, Not only because it allows you to get to the high ground quicker, but say like you're up here as Hanzo and a Genji comes up. Well, you just lunge back and you get enough space to where he can't dash you anymore. And just stuff like that, interactions like that. Winston diving you, you can lunge completely out of his Tesla cannon range now if you just time the lunge for when he lands. So you jump up as he hits you and it knocks you back a little bit, and then you lunge on top of that, and now he can't zap you. Oh, whoops, I erased all of them. So just think about how you're going to use lunge a little bit more. And then I would also say concussion blast. Your concussion blast, one, you can obviously use that to move yourself, which you do that decently. You could probably do it a little bit more. Like, yeah, it's got a long cooldown, but you could use it to be a bit more aggressive at times. And then two is move enemy. And it's not always like knocking them off the map, right? That's not the only thing you can do with that. So like what I mentioned before, Hog has to be close with Whole Hog to get a lot of damage. You can use that to knock him back, and he won't be able to deal as much damage. Reinhardt's, when they're holding S and they're trying to back up, if you boop them here and send them back into your team, like it wasn't this case because you guys didn't have a Ryan, but if you could boop their Ryan into your team, that can create a really easy kill, especially if you're like flying above them here and you boop him straight in, because if Ryan's shielding this way and you're directly above him, he can't shield any of your damage. Uh, let's see. What were other good concussion? Just using conk to mess with your enemy. If you're in a position that you think you're safe, especially if you have a mercy pocket, use concussion to move the enemy more. If you're in a position that's a little bit aggressive and a little bit dangerous, save concussion to move yourself from when you start getting pressured. And that's generally how you want to think about that. Let me know if you have any questions.